Yeah, it's the KindaFunny podcast. Don't even bother. Don't even bother.
Take the smoke back. Put it back.
Brandon Jones is here, and he writes books now. We're going to talk about that, but it doesn't matter because there's a Lex Luthor for Superman Legacy, ladies and gentlemen. We go to Deadline.com. Who, by the way, misspelled Luthor in the headline and still has it wrong in the body. And you said this was their exclusive?
Yeah.
You said this was their exclusive.
I did.
They got this is the state of Hollywood journalism.
Hollywood
all right?
reporting.
How the F? I'm not going to curse one goddamn time in this fucking show because this is such big news. How the fuck did Eric Goldman not get this exclusive?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
We go here where Justin Kroll's writing. He doesn't even know how to spell Luthor, but he's writing, isn't he, Andy? And he says Superman Legacy.
There's another name there,
Holt
too.
lands role of Lex Luthor. There's no time for the other name. If the other name couldn't proofread Luthor, why should I read the other name?
So much Chris Farley vibes in that.
This is a big deal for me, all right? If the Spurs ever get a movie, we'd read about it for you. It'd be a thing for you.
Okay.
We hear that James Gunn has found his Lex Luthor in British actor Nicholas Hoult. That's Beast. Beast.
Mangoes.
Yeah, mangoes.
Several sources tell us a movie star was always eyed for this role after Gunn selected fresh-faced David Cornsweet.
Not cornhole, Nick.
That's some sweet sweat.
Cornswaddle?
Cornsweet.
Is it Cornswaddle?
An
No,
Emmy winner,
just said
Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. Studio wanted to go through the cast. It's not all this garbage they get into where they then misspell Luthor. You know?
I spell Luthor.
Why you keep saying it like that?
Because I'm making up. Because right now there's a bunch of people. There's a bunch of people driving their car with one hand like this. All right, they're just like I don't know what they're
It's
doing.
such a thin
the other
steering
hand,
wheel.
they're smoking a
Are they
cigarette.
drinking tea with
They're
their
eating
hand?
a
What are they doing?
cheeseburger, maybe an Arby's 2 for $22.2. You know what I mean? And they're driving and they're saying,
don't.
"I don't." What's Luthor versus Luthor? I'm trying to say Luthor is how it should be spelled. That way, the idiots who drive their cars like this and eat their cheeseburgers while smoking a cigarette, Tim, understand.
It's disrespectful,
Thank you, Nick.
is what it is. And you don't understand that.
Oh, great. Now
Okay.
it's on me. Now Nick.
'Cause they've never-
Now Nick's
'cause you
turned
know
to me,
why?
Andy. Now it's my problem.
Because you know why, Greg? They've
Why?
never misspelled a fucking name in his Marvel universe. That's why. It's disrespectful.
And Nick, this is what I appreciate
Tony
about
Stark.
you, all right?
They never misspelled
Cut
it.
from the same cloth as me and Brandon Jones.
Right.
DC comic fans for life. Then you got the Marvel kid over here, Tim.
The
Who's just
marvelous
been
Miss
sitting
Tim.
on his throne of goodies forever. Looking down on people like me, Brandon, and Nick. You know what I mean? You got Andy over here. He's just a fan of grape soda. Nobody knows what this kid likes. Nobody cares. All right? But we're over here in the sewer. All
Love
right?
grape soda.
Suicide Squad after Suicide Squad.
How many are they
Aquaman
gonna make?
after Aquaman.
How many are they gonna make?
I just stop. Let me have a Superman movie, please. They're like, well, what about a Superman game? No, you're not going to get that either. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry things have taken a turn for you, Tim. I'm sorry that somehow Miss Marvel sent me a check saying, I'm sorry you saw this movie, all right? Just losing money, apparently. You hear about this? They're doing checks to people who saw the movie.
Are they giving
Andy.
people their money back?
They're sending the movies back to the money.
Watto? Was that your Watto impression?
We got Lex Luthor. This is a motion picture.
Brandon,
motion
I would say this
picture.
isn't how it normally
It
is, but
always
it
is.
always
It's coming
is.
together.
So sorry.
Coming together.
Brandon
so
Jones,
sorry.
We have to cast.
published
left.
author.
Yeah.
Are you excited for Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor?
I really got to put those two things together in my mind. He's amazing. He's really, really great. It's certainly the
God.
last handful of things that I've seen him in. He can,
The Menu.
He can do no wrong. The Menu and The Great. My wife really
The
got
Great
into
is
that
great.
show.
He's great in The Great.
And he's,
That sounded like a joke, but he's wonderful in that.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
pretty
It's
great.
the
It's on
Elizabethan-
Hulu that they canceled, I think maybe 4 seasons, 4 seasons.
Okay.
It's not Dakota Fanning. Elle Fanning plays Catherine the Great.
It's
I wanna
just
say.
the great.
It's called The Great.
It's called The Great.
And he plays the king, and
He's just a psychopath.
psycho.
Man. He's just.
My
And she
mind was
kind of-
my
yeah.
mind was going to the great and wonderful, marvelous Miss Maisel. That's what I thought.
Sure.
It's very. It's not. I don't want to say parody, but it's done in a style.
It's a
where
little cartoony, but
very
yeah.
kind of like weird and fun. And yeah, do you watch the whole series? I came in and out, but I was like, the ones that I did watch, I'm like, this is bonkers, and it's super fun. And Nicholas Hoult plays the king, and he's just unhinged the entire time.
He's good, man. I mean,
He's great.
He was great as Beast. You know, a young Beast. You know what I mean? Like was
He was no Kelsey
still
Grammer.
He was
young.
no Kelsey Grammer.
It's hard
Let's
to
just
tell
call
how
it
old
what
he
it
is.
It is hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, back in First Class, which was what, like 2005, 6? I guess 2006.
Yeah.
Wait, that can't be right. No way. 2010,
2010?
11. Yeah. that movie came out. Like, yeah, like he was fucking great then, and that's a long time ago. Good for him growing up.
I had just seen a tweet yesterday of like any role this dude does, he just fully commits, and it's always Nicholas Hoult in full, head to toe, some sort of like makeup or he's got weird prosthetics on. We're talking Mad Max Fury
Yeah,
Road.
Madeline Stanley in the chat says Nicholas Hoult
yeah.
always great in Fury Road.
Yeah, like he just always transforms himself and always does a great job. And let's just hope that he shaves his head and doesn't get a bald cap.
Oh, and then Ren Fair.
He'll commit to it. Come on now.
Right.
Renfield.
Renfield. He was great in Renfield.
No,
Fun
that's a
one.
bad
Did you watch
movie.
I
Renfield?
did. Yeah, I
That's a
did.
bad movie.
Shout out to Ren
Okay,
Fairs,
it's a
which are
Nicolas
also
Cage
great, but
movie.
not the name of the movie.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage is Dracula. How could I not watch that movie?
Fair.
That's one of those movies I watched with the sound down off somebody else's screen on a flight and it looked pretty good.
I watched it on a flight. I forget where,
It
but
wasn't
I
your
enjoyed it.
screen?
It was
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
That's a different, like, watching a flight or a movie on a flight is always kind of like, what are you doing? I guess you're passing time. Maybe watch something you haven't seen, but it's always tough to kind of fully envelop yourself in those moments. But then watching somebody else's screen
Right.
with the volume down is like a level I didn't know that could be lower than that.
You can't believe how much of it you've watched.
Yeah.
Especially if you've already seen the movie, you're like,
Yeah, yeah.
why am I just locked
Yeah.
onto? There's so many. I could be on my phone. I could got my laptop.
I
with me.
saw
What am
like 3 episodes of Ballers on from
Yeah,
HBO The
yeah.
Rock. I saw 3 episodes of Ballers on a flight. Good time.
Well, like watching a movie on a flight, you're already lowered the expectation of like I'm just passing time.
True.
Watching on someone else's screen is you're like I'm barely existing.
Well,
I'm
the
like
idea
barely alive right
it's
now.
one of those like you're at the buffet and you have your plate,
Yeah.
but then you can pick off other people's plates.
Yeah.
Or your
Sometimes you
wife's
go,
plate's
sure.
next to you, and you look over her and you go, "That's what a normal human being is supposed to eat."
Sure.
And then you look at your plate and it's like billowing over, and so
Yeah.
you look at her and you shoot her a look and you say, "We've been together for 15
Oh.
years, married for 11. What am I thinking?" And she goes, "You want me to put more pizza on my plate for you?" And that is accurate.
Nice. We already have this is just Reddit.
fan art,
Reddit.
right?
Yeah, well I know, but Reddit showing what he would look like bald. That's great. Kevin,
So you know what's funny
Kevin,
about
if you
Nick-
go over 2 tabs, you'll find The Great Brain on Amazon. When you guys talked about The Great, it reminded me of the book series The Great Brain. You ever read these?
Oh, I thought you were trying and failing to find the show when you were.
No.
searching for stuff.
It's just when you said The Great, I was like, oh, I remember
Why
The
do
Great
these
Brain.
two
Don't.
kids look like they have a secret that they don't?
Because they
want us
were,
to
man.
know?
They had one. It was just like it's here's the thing, Kevin. If I'm lying, I'm dying, everybody. I haven't read The Great Brain since about 4th grade. All right, but if I remember correctly, early 1900s, and it was this kid who was just smart. And when you read, he wasn't that smart. He was just schemy. He was like Tim.
Which one?
He does. The one on the
I
right
think
looks
the
like
older
Tim.
one, I
This is
don't know.
Tim and
Blonde,
Kevin.
clearly.
This is
This
Tim
is
and
Tim and
Kevin.
The one on the right looks like me.
Yeah.
What,
Tim
he's
and, this
blonde-
is Tim
he's
and
super
Kevin
blonde.
right
Blonde
here.
hair.
Yeah.
He's so blonde and taller than Kevin. That's
Anyways,
Tim and
like,
Kevin.
one of the big-
with the size discrepancy?
Again, to show you how easy it would have been to get away with what's with the size discrepancy?
Yeah.
Well, kids are born at different ages, so they grow at different
We're
rates.
not born at different ages.
Yeah, you fucked that up. He's got you on that one.
He got me. He got me
fucked
on
you
that
over
one.
on that one.
He did get me. Anyway, I think that he's the older brother, whatever. But everybody's like, oh, The Great Brain. He was such a smart kid. His parents got like a toilet with the flusher in it. You know what I mean? And no more outhouses. And he charged like kids a nickel to come flush the toilet, and he made a bunch of money.
Tom Sawyer vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. If you send me back in time right now, whew, I'd be
swindle
cleaning
so many
up on
people.
these kids. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I don't know how to make penicillin, but I know the general concept. I get there. You know what I mean?
Eat some mushrooms.
Give me a beat.
The idea is really the thing. You know? It's like have other people
Chew
do
it.
that
I don't
work.
know. Spit it at somebody. You figure it out.
A lot of it is the attitude you have while you're taking it, you know?
So, is anyone besides Greg familiar with this Great Brain?
No, I've never
I
seen this
think I
book series in
recognize
my
the
life.
illustrator because I have been reading a lot of kids' books.
I mean, that illustrator looks like they illustrated the one with the frogs, the 2 frogs. I don't know if they're
Frog and Toad.
Frog and
Frog
Toad?
Toad.
huh?
Frog and Toad.
Frog and Toad probably. Like whenever you see those,
Say it one more time.
Whenever you see, whenever you see images of book covers like that with all of the cross hatching and the
Right,
shadows and everything, that just takes me back. I was immediately taken back to being a child looking at these books. But one thing that just threw me off about that book cover, the logo treatment. Like, hire me to do this. Hire me to do this.
They didn't
don't
have it
mind
back
it.
then. It's an old book series.
It's like
Fitzgerald's
from the
books describe
70s.
many issues regarding society and life in the context of the late 19th century between 1896 and 1898. I was so close.
Takes me back.
In Southwest United States. Among the topics covered are the following: the dangers of backsliding
Wait.
or going back on one's word, the small town culture of long ago, diabetes as a fatal disease.
Yeah, man. It was
The only
serious back
time in
then.
history someone has burst out laughing saying
About diabetes.
It's just like that's quite the jump for
Diabetes.
these children. This child, the great brain, who's charging people to use a toilet to go from "don't go back on your word." This is small town culture. Diabetes.
Yeah.
Brandon Jones, little critter. is the same artist.
Do you actually know this?
Oh, there we go.
Mercer
Okay.
Mayer.
You pop for that artist, and I was like, does he actually know Mercer Mayer?
Yeah, but just based on, I feel like every book that I was taking out from the library back in the day was illustrated by Mercer Mayer.
That's awesome.
sure.
That name just definitely hits. For
Yo, what's the deal with Richard Scarry?
Dude.
Yeah. I like how Richard Scarry like kind of comments on his characters like, "What are you doing, man? Why'd you do that?" Like
But
he like
what's
writes that into his.
Is that like is he still a thing? Or,
He's got to be dead, right?
really?
Yeah, I would imagine. Arnold Lobel, shout out, who did Frog and Toad. Also no longer with us, but that was
I don't know why, Tim, you bringing that up made it seem like Richard Scarry was going through some like Richard Simmons type
He's
shit
getting
where,
canceled.
where he was like kidnapped and people didn't know what the status of his.
Well, no, I just
See what he
Life
tweeted
was?
this morning?
Yeah.
No, I just like I think about it because like I Richard Scarry is one of those just
Scary name.
yeah, definitely a scary name. But
Shel
I think,
Silverstein's scary looking guy.
well, that's a different story. But like Richard Scarry, what is it? There's an author. There's a TV show. There's the carpet, the rug.
Yeah, he's like
You know what I'm
he's like
talking
Tom
Pajamas.
Clancy.
There's a whole
You know what I'm talking about? This rug.
Oh no.
Beatus.
There was like a town rug that everybody had.
Yeah.
Was that
Oh.
related to Richard Scarry,
No.
or was that just like it looked kind of like it, and so I'm associating them together?
No, I don't.
I could maybe see that. He did a lot of. I have one book of his that like the pages are huge. There's a lot going on every page, and so
Richard
I could
Scarry-
see him doing.
Died in 1994. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Died in Switzerland, by the way.
I wonder what he was running from.
The long arm of the law.
Did you hear about Richard Scarry? Oh my gosh, the amount of books in this dude's catalog.
Yeah.
I'm
Published
still
over
scrolling.
300 books. He's one of those guys, like, I have a 2-year-old. And so, like, I'm big on a bunch of different, Sandra Boynton. I got a whole bunch of books over there I know very, very well. But our neighbor was like, yo, do you want some Richard Scarry books? And I was like, we'll take anything. This kid, he's voracious at listening to me read books. And so she dropped him, and I picked him up, and I was like, oh. It was like that snap of, like, I never knew what a Richard Scarry book was, but looking at this, I remember these guys. I remember these cats or whatever they are. You know what I mean? Like,
there's cats.
Yeah.
There was a Nickelodeon show growing up on Kid Nick Jr.
Oh,
probably too old for them.
Yeah, the something world, the busy world of Richard Scarry is what it was called. There was that little freaking worm in the apple, just
Driving
driving
his
around.
little Apple car.
we got a book. It was the same illustrator that did Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
But it's a kid's book.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at like the chins and the eyes. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, run over and pull it out. Like, I'm not reading this book.
Did you have
It's perfectly beautiful, quaint illustrations. But I'm like, no, man.
Did you have like an
ruined forever.
adverse reaction to Scary Stories?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There
When-
were like two in particular, like a couple of.
Tell me. Yeah, I was gonna.
It's like-
yeah.
Yeah, there's just the one with the gal with no eyes.
Yeah.
With like no nose and string.
For me, it was the one where they fall in love and they get married, and on her deathbed, she's like, all right, you can finally take off my ribbon or whatever, and takes
Right.
off it, and the head rolls off. I burst into tears. And then my mom told that story to my aunt, and I was in another room, and I heard her, and I ran in crying, like, you said you'd never tell anybody. We said we'd never talk about it again.
He was
It's
16.
just not normal.
This was made in the movie was made
abnormal.
in 2019 for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
It's still a legitimate brand. Yeah.
Dude, I swear, Tim and I were having this issue over Games Daily where we were just talking about projects we had heard that were maybe in development during or right before COVID hit, and then you never really knew if that project actually came out. I would have assumed this was a show still, like a 6-episode series in development still, and has not come out yet. I remember this thing getting revealed and being like, oh, I remember these books. Like, the kids at school had that book, and I was not fucking with that book. Yeah, I can't believe this came out that long ago. But it doesn't have very great reviews,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
we're talking about Monster Hunter, the movie. Where, like, Brandon, did you know the Monster Hunter movie came out?
Yeah.
We did.
Mila
Yeah.
Jovovich.
Never forget.
Ron Simmons. No, Ron Perlman.
Jake, is that because
Ron Simmons is Farouk from wrestling. It wouldn't make much sense. He
okay.
wouldn't be in it, but it was
Sure.
that's where I go first. I'll tell you what, I watched that movie and I enjoyed that movie. Thank you very much.
Monster Hunter?
Yeah. Once you know that. You're free to. Good.
Proud of you.
Have the calicos.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I
Tell me-
said on the show,
Hold
I
on.
don't trust your
Here we
taste.
go.
This kid right here doesn't look like that kid right there on the left.
That kid on the left right there.
Oh my God.
There was a lot of...
freckles and everything.
No, but see,
blonde hair.
that is the light reflecting.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I must just be a small town pizza lawyer, but clearly this boy has blonde hair and Kevin is cloned. All right.
Which okay.
Why are you all wearing the shirt?
There's a
Those are homemade
that
shirts.
was the
There's an
style
older
of the day.
sister off camera that was forcing us all to.
Oh, and you're a backup dancer?
Yeah,
So, okay.
exactly.
That is such a great photo.
It's not.
I need that.
It is a bad photo that should never be seen again.
Tim, I had to go deep into your Instagram
Yeah.
to find it.
Yeah.
Apparently, I had posted it.
I came all the way up here to see that photo.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
That made the
You're
trip.
welcome.
It's terrifying.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brandon Jones!
Woo! Look at him!
I'm sorry, and he's published author Brandon Jones, Whirly World
no.
Whirly World of Brandon
Perlman.
Jones.
is available now.
Whirly World. There we go.
KindaFunny.com/Brandon. You can go to buy your copy of the book. It's a story of an amusement superfan whose ghost gets trapped in his favorite theme park. So he has to befriend the other souls that died there to confront the forces holding them captive. That's KindaFunny.com/Brandon. to
For
get your
real? You got a
copy.
URL ready?
Yeah, it just goes to your Barnes & Noble page like you have
Yeah.
on your thing. Congratulations.
We take 70% of profits. So
You can just self-publish a book. That's a thing you can do. You can just get it on
We
out there.
downloaded the Kindle and we re-uploaded it to our Patreon. You can go get it right there.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
when you announced you were retiring from games journalism, I'm like, oh man, he's going to go to some burgeoning media. And you went print.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this
All that
transition.
early 21st century innovation was just, I was done.
I've had enough
You
of
know?
these moving pictures and the talkies.
Yeah.
I want the written word back in this.
I think the big excitement was just like having a story that it was kind of the buck stopped with my brain, you know,
For
just
sure.
like producing the whole thing. And so making, you know, video after video after video over the years, it was like, okay, can I actually like start one of these stories from, you know, beginning to end?
How long did it take you?
16 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was strictly when you were already retired.
Yeah. That was like the month after.
And was that
Yeah,
the plan
took off-
all along that you're
took
like,
off
I'm
in
gonna
May.
I'm gonna go? So I have so many questions about this transition because we really haven't caught up about it. So you retire from doing, you know, the video game journalism, the
Right.
Easy Allies, and all that jazz. Is the move then you were like, I'm gonna go be a writer, or was
Yeah.
this something? Oh, okay, shit.
I mean, because, yeah,
Touch it, Nick.
go to town.
yeah, were the makings of this
Wicked. Oh
already
my
kind
God.
of
Wait,
in progress?
Yeah, I was working on a different book, and then I was like, oh, I'm not good enough to write this at all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Started to get into some heavy research, and I was like,
Bible.
yeah, I have that other one where I can
rewrite the
just
Bible.
make a theme park. I'll just do that one instead. But yeah, I mean, you know, before Game Trailers, before Easy Allies, I was a film major, and it was just the idea of like putting like that many resources, even a short film, you know, it's just like 5 figures, 6 figures. It's just like, I don't know about, I was, you know, joking with the crew, you know, of talking about like how much stuff at Easy A, and it's kind of funny, we, you know, pump out even just in one day.
Sure.
And like showing up after 16 months, like, buy that, please. You know, it's a little scary just to kind of
sure.
put all your eggs in that one basket.
But I love it. Can you hand me the book?
yeah.
Like Barnes and Noble. Like, it's actually on Barnes and Noble. You
Yeah,
can buy
yeah.
it. That's
Amazon.
cool as hell.
Did an audiobook. It's on Audible.
Kevin, can you? Oh, and with your voice, that's
Yeah.
perfect. But like, he has the picture on it.
I do.
Like, how legit is
cool.
this? Like that? Like you made it, dude.
I drove to
cool.
my friend's house, and he took that picture himself.
Wow.
That legitimizes the whole
It
experience.
really does.
And
Very
also, illustrated by Jeff Delgado.
Yeah.
That's cool. I've seen that dude on Twitter
He did.
a
Yeah, I'll
lot.
show you what he did. Oh,
Very, very
there-
talented
he
artist.
Did the map. He kicked the baby open. You got the map there.
Oh,
So
that's
you can-
cool.
You can follow along.
This is a fun
I
concept.
did that map there. Yeah. But
How
Very,
did, how
very
did
neat.
this idea occur to you first?
just grew up near Disneyland, and
Yeah.
so just always obsessed with Disneyland. Haunted Mansion was my favorite ride.
Yeah,
So
it's
I was
the
just
best
in
ride.
line. I can't remember if it was a California Adventure or Disneyland, and I was like, huh, wonder what happened to people that die here. Like, I wonder if you get like stuck. Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
so
and then
there's
like a
gotta be a
Beetlejuice
few,
kind of
right?
way. I'm like,
Yeah.
can you just, you know, if you're a ghost, can you just like wander over wherever you want? Or are you like stuck in a theme park? Because it's just like 23 people have died at Disneyland. And that's a fun rabbit hole to go down. But you think like, wow, that's a big number. And
Fewer
that's just
than
the
I
people
thought.
that died,
Yeah.
not the people that have been injured.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just like probably in the
Now, how many
hundreds.
What
people
is the
have been
most
maimed?
common? What are they dying of? Heart attacks or?
My favorite. Oh, here's a little bit of trivia for you. The ride. I mean, this might have changed now, but like when I was a kid, I remember looking up the ride that took the most lives of any other ride at Disneyland.
Matterhorn.
The People Mover,
Shut the front door.
Oh, that's
because it doesn't stop. There's no sensor that's like, oh, somebody fell out of it, not in the track. We'll stop the train. It's like,
Oh no.
Yeah.
Man, they should figure that out.
yeah, rough times. Yeah, the dark sides of theme parks. But
And that's just the tram, right? That's just like that's the.
in Tomorrowland, yeah, that just goes around.
Okay, gotcha. Because I've never ridden that. I see it a lot whenever
Well,
I.
no, it's like it's gone now. Right.
Oh, then I haven't seen it. What am I thinking of?
I think it's still around in Florida.
Yeah, they have in Disney World.
But in Anaheim, it's
Disneyland,
not
it's
there,
like
yeah.
they don't do it. The track's still there, but like it's
Oh, maybe I'm just thinking of people on like the little train that kind of like.
the monorail.
Yeah, it's
Monorail.
probably
Am I
that.
crazy in thinking there used to be one that was like a gondola where it would like It was like
Oh, Skyway. Yeah.
that was the Sky. Is that
And
still
someone
there?
jumped out and was not seriously injured, just fell into a tree. And then they were like, somebody can jump out of it. We'll close it down. And it's just like, and
Way to ruin it for everybody.
You can still see the exit if you're in Fantasyland and like look up the hill. You can like see the building. They kept it there just to break the hearts of everyone
That's
old
so
enough to
sad.
remember.
That's so sad.
Brutal.
I remember
But,
that. I remember the Tron ride.
But
Yeah, I remember that. That went through the Tron ride, didn't it? Didn't that go through like another ride?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, there was no. It was just like a Tron room.
Yeah, that's what it
There
was.
were literally like two projectors.
Yeah,
that were
yeah,
just
yeah. I
like-
remember
and here's
they-
that scene from Tron.
Yeah. I remember being
Yeah.
like, "That's the coolest thing ever." My mom's like, what the fuck? You're an idiot."
Just playing Tron on like fucking USA Network, like with commercial
you
breaks.
get there, it's a commercial for chili. Fuck. I remember this in Tron.
It was a waste of my time.
Yeah, Beetlejuice vibes. Just kind of
That's awesome.
playing
That's
around with
super
paranormal
fun.
stuff and people's love of theme parks, but then
Man,
get
what a
some
badass
demonology in there and
Is it
300
important
pages,
question?
nice and quick.
This
From the
is what
live
killed
chat.
people. I just want everyone to
Yeah,
understand.
people are
Like,
dumb.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
There's
Well,
just
you have
something
a-
I don't know. There's just something metal about
all the
like
ways
going
to
on
die.
like Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, knowing like when you go into that dark part of Big Thunder, like somebody didn't come out of that cave. Just every time you go into that cave, just remember.
That
like,
is very
Well,
sad.
I'm sure part of it, someone came out of that cave.
Oh,
Important question from live chat. What is this? A young adult book?
15 and up.
15 and up?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's
So
because I
perfect.
met like a lot of kids. I met kids way younger than 15 that I pitched the book to, and they were like, "I would like to read that." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you kind of break the mold." Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily think just looking at you that this would be
What
suitable for
young
you, but
adults? Is there like an actual definition to that?
YA. I
It
think
depends.
I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
it
a
It
like a
depends
age
on.
bracket, right?
Yeah, I think it's like 12 and up. Or, yeah, but
So what would this qualify as? Just like
15 and up. And,
yeah, but is there like
something
a
around
mid-
branding
young.
there?
Yeah.
Almost adult.
No F bombs, but I did put shit in there twice.
Wow.
Hey,
Twice.
Yeah.
That's
Is
crazy.
there any literotica for Greg
Thank
to
you.
read?
No, I can't do a special edition. I didn't do a
love that.
hardcover. I didn't do a hardcover.
Yeah.
So if I do a hardcover later.
I love that little added epilogue. It's
DLC.
just
Greg gets
fucking
the 1v1 or like the one. It's a special edition only for him.
handwritten.
I love that. Handwritten.
Just to make sure it never ever is. it
Sent
goes
you an
out.
audio copy as well.
I can start a blog. We can do some fan fiction.
Oh,
something
sounds great.
together.
Okay,
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. I love it. Alex J. Sandoval in the live chat says, "Damn, I have a story in me that I'd love to write one day." What advice do you have for Alex?
Follow me on Instagram. I actually just started a thing because the big thing for me was, you can think of an idea, but it's like I was talking to Mike out in the lobby about just the loneliness. It was like this is so nice, like getting on stage and like even from like being on stage to a tech side, there's just so many people around like creating content like this.
This is how
and then all of
Alan
a
Wake
sudden
feels.
just whoosh, vacuum. I was like, oh, so just that question of like, when am I finished with this book? Like, when do I stop? I guess all of that's up to me. And so that can be kind of scary. And so I started doing a weekly series on my Instagram called Don't Stop Writing, which is just like, here's just dumb tricks and dumb stuff that just, you're just like staring at a page. Because like writer's block's one thing when you have no idea what you're going to do, but then there are times you totally have an idea and you're like, I don't know what to do. So.
Jumping back, I mean, you've been doing video games media stuff for literally ever with game trailers, and then after that, Easy Allies. But I didn't think of you so much on the writing side. Thought of you more on the presenting side. I know that you would do the VO that other people would write. I know you would sometimes script your own things, but was this like a major departure for you, or have you kind of been writing a lot more than I've expected from you over the years?
I think just writing anything helps you get good at that. Just kind of just clacking the keys just kind of gets you, into that. Because you're essentially telling a story. Like if you're writing a headline or writing about Lex Luthor,
Now these hacks at deadline. You know what I mean? Not one typo in this book.
And
KindaFunny.com/brand.
Well, see.
Find one yourself.
let me know. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's any good writing is all, telling a story at the end of the day. And so I think I was helping myself doing that. And that's like another good tip is that it's just, even if you aren't super stoked on an idea that you're doing, or even if you're like, I have this idea, but I don't necessarily want to push it forward, like waiting until it's perfect is just never gonna happen. Go,
So now, that's an interesting one to jump off of because you just talked about the first thing you try to write. You're like, I'm not good enough for this yet.
Right.
Is that still in the background, or is that
Oh,
the
yeah.
next project,
Yeah,
or
I'll
is
get-
that 3 more projects from now, or like when?
Not the next one, probably the one after that. Maybe the one after that. Yeah.
What? I guess you don't want to talk too much about it, but like, what makes you think you're not good enough for it?
I mean, this takes place in one location. It was a location I created. So it's like nobody could be like, no, that ride's not there. It's like, no, it
Gotcha.
is. I made it. I don't say like where it is specifically. I kind of have an idea in my mind where it is in the US. And like kind of went outside of my comfort zone a little bit, and so it's like when I look at the projects I want to work on, every single step will kind of move a little bit further
Love
away
it.
from,
Okay.
you know, like, oh, I'll do a female protagonist this time, or like, oh, we'll go outside of the United States. Hey, there's the map.
Good job, Kevin.
WhirlyWorldPark.com, and you can see that map. Shout out Jeff Delgado
Amazing.
and Mitch Baker, who made the logo.
And so you were mostly worried about the research aspect of, if I write a story about this location at this certain place in time, there are a lot of facts that I could get wrong.
Yeah, somebody that lives there could be like,
Gotcha.
you know, this wasn't great. And I mean, it's not like that has affected sales. It's not like movies come out and somebody
Right.
calls it out for, you know, like Napoleon's not going to get hurt this weekend from people being like, that's not what happened in that battle.
Inaccurate.
I've
But,
seen the videos going around of Napoleon being cut with the pyramids and like the Transformers fighting on it. They're like, it's entirely accurate.
Great supercut. Do you plan on staying in this sort of spooky genre?
Or, like nerdy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Just kind of magic, just something that, like, my brain just like always goes there. Like even just the paranormal stuff. I was like, oh, it's a guy in a theme park and he meets other ghosts. And then like after a while, I was like, man, there's got to be a bad guy. And there's got to be, you know,
Be a bad ghost.
got to make it, yeah.
He's a Ghostbuster. It's a bad guy.
Good enough. You know, in every story, the hero has to be a villain. You know?
I had that track rolling in my brain a lot. I had made a playlist and every now and then.
So-
That's kind of the vibe. a little bit.
Love it.
That reminds me of Ghostbusters in review. Like when we watched and
interview we
reviewed
ever
the
did.
Ghostbusters movies, it was Ghostbusters movies. 90% of that in review was Nick and Greg singing the songs or just saying the lines,
Quoting lines, yeah.
I
verbatim.
mean, it's that one song. It's not the theme song. It's the bum bum.
Well, I can listen to it now and they're so hokey, Greg. But like when I was a kid, it's, like I would get chills.
Greg's about to take a swing on you right now. He's about to swing on you, Brandon
English
Jones.
is the word you're looking
Well,
for.
but fun. There's a playfulness
I
to
know,
that
I know.
music.
Yeah, they're
But like some of that's like when I was a kid, it messed me up.
oh, for sure, for sure.
So you trying to mess kids up?
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah. We got to have an impact, you know. Like I think that's the one of the most subversive things you can do, and we kind of ended that era, the '80s, with this really magical time where you could like make a kids movie and then just have like
Traumatize them.
E.T. traumatized me more than anything.
sure.
When he's on the floor, like and turns all white, and I just like I didn't understand. There's something about seeing like a demon like casting a spell. You're like, oh yeah, it's a bad guy. Or like I like grabbed my mom, like, what's wrong with E.T.? She's like, he's an alien. I don't know.
We don't have the science.
biology.
We don't have
I
the
don't know
science.
biology.
Honey, I'm scared too.
That's where like later Spielberg took the guns out. Like all these things. Yeah. Oh no, stop my mouth.
Oh God.
Terrifying.
You know?
I just realized I've never seen E.T.
Oh my god!
After seeing that screenshot, I'm
Greg,
like,
you shut your fucking mouth. I know your ET takes, and they're horrible. So you're not allowed to talk.
Wait,
in ET
what's
at
your
this
ET
point.
take? I don't think I've
I
ever heard you
don't
talk about
really
ET.
know. I saw E.T. like twice as a kid, and I've never thought it was that impressive. I don't know.
Oh, at some point you went off on that. Like,
Oh, I just like to fuck around.
maybe like an hour long. Spiel of, like, how ET is the worst movie of all time. And like,
It doesn't sound like me.
that doesn't.
You know what I mean?
yeah. After seeing that screenshot, I'm like, oh, this is one of those Family Guy movies where I'm just used to all the pop culture references. I got to assume this movie was on when I was very, very young, not forming memories. This from the movie. This is
That
not
was
an
4K.
This is not an AI generated image.
No.
No, dude. ET's wild, bro.
Yeah.
What the?
Go back to that. Go back to that. Go back to that. Go back to that. Move us away. Shitty movie details. In E.T. the Extraterrestrial, E.T. turns white in order to hide from the authorities, even when he's captured. That's not accurate,
That's not
right?
accurate. Wasn't he dying?
I think that's shitty movie details.
Yeah. They just make it up. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
They're
Well, it didn't work.
they're giving us their own synopsis.
E.T. camo.
So sci-fi, is that the next genre?
Mystery will be the next thing.
Oh,
to tackle,
okay.
Yeah.
Mystery sounds
Comic
hard.
books.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You like noir, Craig?
I
Do you like Batman,
noir.
Craig?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wait, so are you creating? Wait, when you say, never mind. Comic books don't have to be about superheroes, but like, are you creating like your own little league of superheroes?
No.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
See, but
Are you
again,
writing
we
in
got
somebody
not
else's
being
universe?
qualified. A league? I'm not qualified.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
One at a
gotcha.
time. One at a time.
Is this in your own universe or is it somewhere else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my own thing. But that's another just kind of leap forward. Is like this is just this own like literally world that I created. Whereas this actually takes place in a city. I got to bring up Google Maps and figure out like
Nice,
okay, how
nice,
far away
nice.
is this? And so it's just more work, but it's fun.
Okay.
I know you brought
Research's
up.
fun. It's the most fun part of like the whole process. When you actually get writing, it's like
All right.
Now I
is there
gotta
like another
do
book I
this.
can read? Like
I know you brought up your Instagram for motivation for writers out there that want to like kind of get that motivation and not stop writing. But were there any moments in this production where you're like, I don't want to do this. I'm done. Did you ever hit a spot where you're like, not worth it, gonna do something else?
No, I don't know, but like not enough to like seriously like replan the whole thing. But yeah, once it's like getting over those hurdles to actually finish it's really tough. It's super gratifying when you finish a draft, and then it took me like just under half the time to get the first draft done, and then like 8-9 months to do the work after that. And so like going back to it again and again, like like looking at a page knowing it doesn't work and just like, come on. That's tough.
That's got to be so unbelievably tough to like when you're watching a movie, a 2.5-hour experience,
Right.
and you know pacing here is a little bit slow. It's hard to, it's kind of weird to repeat this little plot point that just happened 10 minutes ago. In a book, I can't even fathom how time works when you're reading a book, because I haven't read a book in a long time, Brandon. Let me tell you.
Fair.
And to understand, like, is it too soon to reference this again, or is this kind of like beating this in your face a little too much, or is the pacing going too well that I shouldn't stop it here? Like, how do you balance that shit?
It's fun to notice words you say like a lot, you know, just kind of think like, wait a minute, like palms was one. I just like search.
Interesting.
Like whenever I had characters making gestures, I always specifically mentioned what their palm was doing at the time. Palm up, palm down, palm to the side, palm up, you know.
He licked his palm.
Yeah. I'm childish, but then again, so is high school.
When I was a kid, I noticed that while reading a lot of Goosebumps books, because I was
palm talk?
I was
It's kind of a there's a Goosebumps like theme park like line, Horrorland. I was at like a library one time. I was like, oh well, I obviously have to read this entire series. Clearly,
I mean, yeah, like I would read those 3 over a weekend, and I noticed R.L. Stein always using the word riot. I was like, you're using the word riot too much, R.L. Stein. Like,
And that's when Andy said, you know what? Suspension of disbelief's broken. I'm never reading again.
I'm moving on to Animorphs, okay? The more sophisticated
natural
franchise.
progression.
Yeah, exactly. And then R.L. Stein started making stuff that wasn't Goosebumps related, but he had like some choose your own adventure books, and I was like, whoa, this is a crazy concept.
Oh man,
I did not know that, like, if you choose to save him, move to the page 73, like, whoa, what a mind-blowing concept that was.
Sure.
I don't know what Nick is doing right now. Nick is just slacking stuff to Tim.
Nothing.
Yeah.
We're just conversing about
Indiana
R.L. Stein.
Jones,
Andy,
Choose Your
We're
Adventure.
just talking about R.L. Stein.
Big deal.
Nick slacks me. Andy's hair is very high today. And then a separate slack. I'm not ascribing a value to that. Just an observation.
Looks great.
It is hot today.
Very high. Looks good. Full.
All the tech in this place now, we can't measure it. Is that some sort of visual guide that we can, like a filter that we
An on-screen face tracker. No, you can't.
Kevin's
measure
working
it.
on it right now, I assure you. Kevin's
Good,
trying
good.
to
So what were the like childhood books of like y'all's time? Because we had Animorphs and Goosebumps, but like what did y'all three have?
Oh, I famously didn't read at all when I was growing up. I just watched movies. So I mean,
If I remember correctly, Nick told the story before. Like, no, his grandfather came down with these 2 stone tablets. There's like 10 things written on them, and Nick and his friends just
Can't
poured
read
over
that.
those all day long.
thanks for not saying my dad. At least you put me one more generation away from him. I mean, I don't know, man. I didn't really read.
Yeah.
I spent all of my days watching movies or TV growing up. Books.
Well, I mean, what were the kids around you? Were kids' books a thing for your generation?
Yeah, oh, yeah, of course they were a thing, but I'm just trying to like struggle to think like Goosebumps, I guess, but I would have been a little too old for that.
What are all the mystery books with the?
Nancy Drew.
Yeah,
Nancy Drew would
Was
have
that
been the Hardy
Boys,
Boys
Babysitter's
would have been
Club.
a thing. Babysitter's Club would have been a thing that people read, but yeah, I still don't read.
Yeah.
It takes me a year to read a book.
You
I've
do.
been reading.
though.
I've been reading that book about the UFC for the last 6 months.
Hey, man, slow play. Enjoy yourself.
I just read in airports. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all I do.
That's a rare.
Seriously, like I love going to airports early because it gives me an opportunity to get a cup of coffee and read a book. And then if I'm good about it, I'll continue reading onto the plane as opposed to like watching whatever stupid movie I've already seen 5 times on someone else's screen. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the only other book series that I ever really read, like I never read The Lord of the Rings until college. I don't think.
Honestly, I've known Nick a very long time, and my entire perspective of him changed the day I was probably 22 years old. At that point, Nick was 32 years old, working at IGN. Okay. We were at Burger Joint, and we walked over there, had our lunch. We were walking back, and you were just talking like, yeah, like, so you know Lord of the Rings? I'm like, oh, I haven't seen them. You're like, oh yeah, but you've read the books, right? I'm like, no, I haven't fucking read the books. He's like, oh, I did. And I was like, no, you didn't. And you're like, yeah, I did. And I'm like, I don't
Prove
fucking
it.
believe you, Nick.
Say
Like,
a
I've
word in
known
the
you at
book.
this point like a year. No way you read the fucking Lord of the Rings books. And you're like, no, dude, I did. And I was like, I don't know this man. Like,
Yeah.
isn't that
And then he
mind-blowing,
preached the
Andy?
story of Tom Bombadil. That's exactly what happened.
I mean, why was any of the movies? Why not? No, yeah, I read those in college because I was like, oh, I should read more. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a screenwriter. And someone was like, if you want to be a writer, you got to read a lot. And I was like, oof, Achilles heel right there.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
The big first hurdle.
Yeah, so I started reading like what I thought was like the books that you're supposed to read. So I was like, well, I want to write in this in like the fiction realm. I want to write fun adventure stories. So I'll read some of the classics of that. Read Count of Monte Cristo, the unabridged version, and after that I was like, and then I read Dune, and after those two books I was like, I'm good. That's a lot of pages of books right there. The unabridged version of Count of Monte Cristo is like in the thousands of pages. It's so wild.
I just
And Dune's
imagine
not short either.
Nick on a press tour. So what are your influences? Count of Monte Cristo, Dune.
The unabridged.
Unabridged.
Next question.
Lord of the Rings. That's pretty much it. Do not ask me any other questions that don't pertain to those three books.
You got into Harry Potter, and
I mean, I love Harry Potter. Yeah, I loved all the Harry Potter books. Read all those. Went to the midnight launches of those. But yeah,
So you just read Fellowship. You said those are 3 books, but there's a trilogy of Lord of the Rings. Did you just read?
I read I read
Okay.
Fellowship. I read Hobbit.
You read Hobbit.
Yeah, I
Nice,
read the whole
nice,
thing.
okay. It's 6 books. You read
Hobbit,
6
Hobbit,
books.
I feel like we all read at some point somewhere along the line
Sure.
before that. But
Or
I
it
don't
was read to us, maybe.
something like that. Or I saw the Freaky Deaky animated movie, which
That
actually
was my
so
only
much
touchdown.
rotoscoping.
Yeah.
I went back and watched that recently. I'm like, this is actually stunning. This is a fucking
Yeah.
weird and wacky, wild project.
Yeah.
But yeah,
There's always that little thing that people always clip out where Gandalf scares Samwise in a moment where he's like, all right, I gotta go. And he looks at Samwise really ugly and he like, and he scares Samwise. And they like rotoscoped it. And it's the animation is there. It looks really cool.
Gandalf's messed up, man.
Yeah, he's a fucked up dude.
Yeah. He they definitely paint him in a very grandfatherly way in
Yeah.
all 6 of those movies where like he's pretty messed up.
He's a little
he like
trickster.
he like kidnaps Gollum and like tortures him with fire. And he's like, so then that's when we figured out that he had the ring. And just like, glance past
What
the
about
Frodo's
that-
like, well, what else are you gonna do?
What
to
about that
Gollum,
living
obviously?
being? Berenstein Bears was another one of those kids' books that when it was available to me, I wasn't sure what generation it was from. Oh, here's a little scare moment. It's so cute.
like the dog whisperer.
Berenstein Bears, Little Critter, and just again the name Mercer Mayer is just like so evident in my mind.
You said Mercer Mayer, like that doesn't ring any bells for me. But when I googled it, there's that weird little like the porcupine. That,
Yeah, Little
like-
Critter.
Oh, that's Little Critter.
Yeah.
That's a good name for that thing.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's ugly.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Or are people gonna correct me because I think that after 30 years of thinking it was Berenstein, that it was actually Berenstein or
Berenstain.
Berenstain. There we
Yeah.
go. That's the thing that really
Stain.
that blew
And
my
we
brain.
all were like living in another dimension or something, and then
I don't
they
believe
flipped the
it. I
switch
refuse
and we
to
all
believe
crossed
it.
over.
That's not how it is.
You know, like another one of those things. I've been waiting to bring this up because it's Fruit of the Loom's now come up many times.
Right.
Another one of those Mandela effect things. You know, the Fruit of the Loom, like the logo, where it doesn't have the thing,
The cornucopia?
There's no cornucopia
Fucking
behind
weird,
it.
right?
Just the
I
fruit.
would have bet money on that right now
Yeah.
that it did. If you
Real
just said,
weird.
does it have it or not, I'd have been like, shit. I would
Yeah.
$50. It did have it.
Greg blew my mind about like what the Fruit of the Loom is. You know,
Yeah, Greg. You're smashed grapes.
well, yes,
Inside
but also
joke between
like,
me and Nick.
do you know, like, Greg?
We
Can you
said that
explain
on
to Brandon the
stream.
Fruit of the Loom?
Do you understand the pun, Fruit of the Loom?
I don't.
So like, a loom is where you make clothes, obviously, thread. So like the fruit of the loom would be the clothing.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
Isn't
cool.
that
I feel like the loom is a tree, and these are the okay.
Yeah. So these guys were over here and they
blew
were
my mind.
he didn't know what a loom was,
Yeah.
so then explaining it.
We're
the
watching
fruit-
Loki and they're talking about this temporal loom, and I'm like, what the fuck is a loom? And he was like, oh, it's a loom. Like, and I was like, oh, okay, the threat that makes a lot more sense. But I thought the loom. I had never ever heard of the word loom outside of Fruit of the Loom. I feel like you can't say the word loom unless you are referencing the clothing.
You mean it
looming
means
over
nothing
something.
unless you say fruit of the loom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just had a big discovery.
I don't think you're trying to claim Goosebumps is your childhood, because that was definitely I was Gen 1 Goosebumps. Goosebumps that they
Sloom.
you're ta-
When was Goosebumps?
Well,
Late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah,
I feel like they...
yeah,
Early
90 I want to
90s.
say like 92, 93, 94.
Okay, yeah.
Kev, can you give us a... That's awesome. Yeah, there's no fucking cornucopia in that at all.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Can you give us a quick Google search for the Goosebumps series when those first started dropping?
But that was the thing. Is like that was wildfire in our school. And it must have been, I think I remember distinctly, I think in 4th grade, Mrs. Gustafson walking around the room and be like, what are you all reading?
Mrs. G.
And she don't get me started on her. She's the one who gave me gum and then gave me a demerit for you to eat.
What the fuck? That's
Don't even get me
bullshit.
started. Don't even, my mom wrote a whole scathing letter back to the school. But anyways, no, like walking around and we were all reading Goosebumps. Like, what is this? And we explained it to her. She's like, that's so awesome that this is happening. And I loved that it went on for so long. It like has its like lineage and still kicks. And
I mean, I guess 94, 95, I would imagine like that to me. I'm like, that's when I would remember it starting, but it starting a couple years before that wouldn't be shocking to me because then us coming in, the show was there. And like, I don't know, like when I first remember Goosebumps, there was already like 10 or 15 of them.
Yeah.
Like Horrorland was already a thing.
Right.
Anytime there would be
what
a
this
new
is.
issue, anytime there'd be a new
92.
issue, it really felt like
Yeah.
Welcome to Dead House.
the new episode of
badass name.
The Boys premiering. Like I was there. I
It's
was
gonna be badass name.
Dead House.
yeah, man. Like
Not
I
just
was
Dead House. Welcome to Dead House.
I was renting these every goddamn week at the library. We were really big into the accelerated reader test, AR testing. And like, it was just kids. And if you read a book and you do a quiz, you get points for it. And if you
Like
pop,
free pizza or something, or
yeah, dude.
Nice.
I mean, let me tell you, Brandon, it was the person who read the most, and I was winning these things left and right. And
The only person competing, by the way.
dominating Goosebumps. I mean, all the kids are reading Goosebumps, and I'm like, you're barely at the Night of the Living Dummy. Come on, man. And I would turn in and I'd get the most points on the AR test. Get the personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut.
Yeah, book it.
Get the demo disc for fucking Tony Hawk. Like, come on, dude. It was like the loom was fruiting. Let me tell you.
You bring up a very interesting thing that I didn't. We have a guest in the office, so it's probably not the right time to do it, to air out any grievances that are internal here. But we do need to talk about Pizza Hut pizza.
Yeah, we do.
We got to talk about this.
Seriously. We
Okay,
have to have a
we
serious
We do.
conversation
After
about
I
this.
remind you, this is the Kind of Funny podcast each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each coming to hang out with each other and talk about whatever it is they want to talk about, like Brandon's book that you can get right now at kindoffunny.com/Brandon. Support him. Support Whirly World, your first novel.
first novel.
Very exciting. Very cool. Of course, if you like that and want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny. Over on patreon.com/kindoffunny, you can get each and every episode of the Kind of Funny podcast ad-free. You can get it ad-free on demand as a video, as an MP3. You can watch it live as we record it, just like Alex is, the Lou is, and Goaty Hagler are. If you get it later, youtube.com/kindoffunny. Podcast services around the globe. Remember, of course, you get the ads there. It would help us out if you went to Patreon, but we understand. Maybe you're saving your money for Whirly World at kindoffunny.com/Brandon. Because books are expensive.
$20
and much
paperback.
like
That's not
the
bad at all.
digital's
$4.
Oh, yeah.
$4.
Much like
I went to get whale fall when we were flying to LA the other day. I walked in there, $27.99. Get the hell out of here, SFO. You know what I mean? That's why small businesses are going out of business. Small airport.
so I can buy the digital version right now. Yeah. I'm gonna do that right now. And let me tell you, make sure this isn't a Luther situation where like is it an O or E at the end? Brandon with an O at
With
the
an O.
end, not an E
We
or an A.
we don't acknowledge those other Brandon spellings.
Oh, okay. I just wanted for people to get the URL correct.
spelling.
Yeah, exactly. Housekeeping for you. There's a Kind of Funny town hall on Tuesday. There's lots of updates and content coming. If you miss it, you can catch up on patreon.com/kindoffunny to find out everything else that we're doing and all the cool things that are happening. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Nathan Lamoth, James Hastings, and Casey Andrew. Today, we're brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. And hey, let's hear from them right now.
This episode is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. There's so much to be thankful for: family, friends, food, and NFL football all week long. DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping your Thanksgiving week full of action. New customers can bet just $5 on the NFL action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Looking ahead to Thanksgiving, you know the Lions are always playing next week, and they have Green Bay coming to town, and the Lions are currently 7.5-point favorites. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KindaFunny. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL Thanksgiving action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, with code KindaFunny. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. In West Virginia, you can visit www.1800gambler.net. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. You can call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, KS must be 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. You can see DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms.
We had a big Coco meeting.
Now, what does COCO stand for?
Content conference. Everybody knows that. They follow.
No.
They listen to Greg Way. They watch Greg Way.
I thought it was like
Patreon.com.
Pixar in review.
All right, fair enough. You're new around here. I understand. Yeah, I ripped off Cup of Jones and I just do a thing called Greg Way every. It doesn't matter.
Are they all in your car?
Lots of them are in my car.
Okay.
Yeah, not all of them. Lots are in my car.
We're encouraging
I
you
was
to do
sitting at
them
my
what
desk
he's-
like a sucker.
See,
Should have.
you got to multitask. Let me tell you, as soon as I break through that wall where I can poop into them, I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
Break through the wall.
You got to ease people into things. You know what I mean?
Okay,
I've started doing them pantsless. Nobody's noticed yet, but that way when I step back, they're like,
Get the
oh,
most views or the least views.
pantsless.
Only one way to find out.
Have you ever thought about putting one of those like sliding windows in between our bathrooms so you and I can hang out and talk together while we're pooping?
No.
Like open it up.
Well,
when we
during
wanna talk,
Coco, when somebody
close
went to
it.
the bathroom, you're like, leave the door open. That was a nice throwback to the open door bathroom
turn
policy.
The toilets around.
The
they're
love toilet
facing
from
each other?
SNL.
I'd like to be side by side so the hands can be held
Oh, okay.
for the harder moments.
Coco was there, content
couple of
conference.
these,
We were
like, fist
discussing what
pounds.
do we want to do next year and then the future kind of funny and yada, yada, yada. The first question on my PowerPoint was, what are we doing for lunch?
Mm-hmm.
And it ground the office to a halt for a good 15, 20 minutes to the point that you could see Nick getting mad. He was getting angry at it. So he turned to me, maybe you should just call it. And I'm like, no, these kids can figure it out. And the problem was Andy. Who, when we started kicking around, he said, somebody was like, what about Square Pie guys? They're doing the KindaFunny pizza. I was like, that's a great call.
False.
And Andy's just like, no, I'm going to get Pizza Hut if we do that. And then Blessing was like, well, I'll get Pizza Hut. And then slowly, the Pizza Hut trained for him. We got on Pizza Hut.
Okay, first off, I would have still done it separately. I did not want to coax anybody into getting the Pizza Hut. I said, I will do this on my own if you all get the other thing, and that's totally fine.
Here's the thing. And I know it sounds like I'm going to throw some shade at you right now because I enjoy doing that for absolutely no reason. But
Glad you admit it.
Pizza Hut has always been near and dear to my heart. That was the pizza that we always ordered coming home on a Friday from school. Mom's too tired to cook. Dad's coming home a little bit late. We got a couple movies from the Video Whiz up in the Canyon Crest.
Put ET on.
Video.
My mom's like, I called Pizza Hut. We're gonna go pick it up, of course, because my mom would no fucking way Elena Scarpino is paying for that delivery fee.
You ever think about the difference in
Forget it,
generations?
man.
My
Forget
parents
it.
never. What are you talking about? A delivery? No chance. Get in the car. We're going to go pick it up.
My mom used to make me, if we did get it delivered, she'd make me go get it so that the guy would I wouldn't have to tip. It was the best.
awesome.
Anyway, we'd pick it up, and obviously, Southern California, it's 80 degrees, 90 degrees outside, so you're wearing shorts, of course. You stupid little kid.
Let me guess, you're burning the top of your thighs
every time.
right on the way home.
Every time. And you get this pizza in there, and I just have such fond memories of Pizza Hut being like my favorite pizza the day of. And then, of course, I would always talk my mom into ordering like one more pizza more than she needed to so we can shove it in the Ziploc bag
Yeah.
and just make it cold as shit for
Oh,
the
yeah.
next day. Next day being 2 o'clock in the morning when my ass would go over there and just take a piece of pep out of it. So I love Pizza Hut, and I've always been sort of pro Pizza Hut, anti Domino's, because back in the '90s, you had to pick a side. It was the rivalry of the ages, right?
That's
Pizza
why I
Hut
picked
versus-
Little Caesars. But
Well, you picked wrong,
hey,
incorrectly.
before they did Hot and Ready, they were great.
Fair enough.
Then they were like, hey, we're going bankrupt.
So Brandon, flash forward to what was it like? I want to say a year ago, maybe Andy. Domino's runs this Twitch bounty. They say
Right.
if you order Domino's, you do these things. We're gonna ship you these. And I was like, whatever, it's money. I'll eat a piece of pizza. I'll be fine. I'm sure it's decent enough.
We'll pay you X amount of dollars to eat. We'll give
yeah.
you we'll pay you, and then we'll give you a gift card to buy Domino's with. You eat the pizza on stream. We were like, yeah, sure, that sounds fun.
And I'm thinking the last desperate act of a business that's going under.
Right.
I'll take their money. Fuck Domino's on Pizza Hut through and through.
Oh, I thought you were talking about us.
That's like we're always like one step away from that. This Domino's comes, and it's a fucking revelation. It's so good.
Oh, wow.
That it made
Not
me
where I thought this was
rethink
going, yeah.
everything.
'Cause that was the
so
Domino's
now
kids.
I'm
All right.
conflicted.
All right.
So when Andy brought up Pizza Hut, I was scared because I was like, I don't know if it's going to be as good as I remember it. And now I'm kind of a Domino's guy, but I don't want to tell Tim that because Tim already
Real
tells
quick,
me
I'm sorry.
flopper.
In the year since the Domino's sponsorship, how many times have you ordered Domino's?
That was definitely
We've
not a
ordered
year.
Domino's like
Yeah.
5 times here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we
the-
used to be a round table house. Well, actually, we used to be a
We are
senior.
a round table house.
Well, I don't know because
I've
apparently
never
we're a
seen a
fucking Pizza
Domino's
Hut
pizza
house.
walk in this fucking place.
Nick hadn't had Pizza Hut hadn't had Domino's since Domino's went through their whole marketing phase where they're like, "Hey, we get it, we suck. We're changing everything," and they did, and they started like rubbing their crust in garlic sauce. What
Yeah,
a euphemism!
dude. They're rubbing
What are you
that
doing
crust
up
all
there,
over
rubbing
there.
your crust?
He's up there rubbing his crust again.
But Nick hadn't had it since they kind of publicly admitted, "Hey, our shit sucks.
Sucks.
We understand, and we are going to make things better here."
So I think we ordered it for like the Mario stream or something. I think it was another
Yeah.
church bounty. So we had it literally like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, whenever the new Mario came out. So Greg, you take that fucking attitude of yours and shove it up your asshole, okay? Because we get it a lot. The
I was
Pizza
at home
Hut.
taking care of my son.
Well, I mean,
Oh, jeez.
good for you. What do you want, a biscuit?
Yeah, you got
Yeah. kinda.
it.
So Brandon, the Pizza Hut gets delivered, and right off the bat, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this doesn't have the stuff. This is not what it used to be. And after 2 slices, man, I was so sick to my stomach. It just did not work, man. Pizza Hut needs to have that moment that Domino's did.
Now,
where
when
they
you
need to
had
come
that
around
Domino's
to
at
it.
one time, was that just pepperoni or?
Domino's is pat, but it's like fluffy, and they have like the I don't know, what do they? Is it a garlic crust, Andy? Or they have like a Parmesan
There's
crust.
a lot of.
Domino-
I like
it's
the
so
option.
good.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
a big Domino's fan. There's a
And
lot
they
of
got the
crazy
knots
things
that
you
are
can build.
good, that are real good.
I would like to just come in with a little cross-examination here, though.
Sure.
So after 2 slices, you were sick to your stomach.
And you ended
then
there.
how much more did you eat after those 2
I
slices?
ate another. Andy goes, because here's why. Because you're not privy to all the conversations that happen in this fucking office, Greg. Even though you got big ears.
Great insult. You got
Okay.
me.
Your stupid big ears.
Yeah, I'm done.
Andy said, well, I said, Andy, I don't think this piece is very good. Now, you're going to always get me at the stuffed crust. If you could just make the stuffed crust, I'd be okay with that. So I ate 2 pieces because I wanted to get to the stuffed crust. But Andy goes, Nick, you're not eating the right stuff. You got to eat the thin crust. And the thin crust was the equivalent to taking a saltine cracker, squirting a little ketchup on it, and then microwaving it for 35 fucking minutes. This shit was dry as the Sahara, and that's what made me sick. Now, after 3 slices of that, I was like, I'm done. I'm stopping. And then I ate a couple slices of the cheese bread.
I was gonna say that cheese bread.
That cheese bread hit. It hit.
Kevin keeps throwing these photos up, and
They look delicious.
Yeah, what is
what are
it?
we looking at?
They're
So
not labeled. So how is it?
this is Pizza Hut stuffed crust pepperoni?
Yeah, I think so.
This is this is Kevin trying to insult this.
It looked
It's insulting.
It looked like this. Now, what was crazy is we also got a combo. It should have looked like this, but all the green parts were brown. Remember, Andy? I grabbed you and I'm like, "There's no green on
And
this.
I said,
It's
that's
all
what you
brown."
get for putting fucking vegetables on your shit.
It's
You
true,
should
you
just
did-
eat.
you did
You
say
should just
that.
eat normal pizza.
He's not wrong on
but
that regard.
look, here's the thing. I am fully aware that Pizza Hut is not the end all be all of cheap fast food
I mean,
delivery.
it's no round table. We
I
know
just
that.
never have it. So whenever I'm here, this is the closest place to deliver it. Because where I live, further north from here, it doesn't deliver. It's too far away. And even if I tried, I'm sure it'd be like an hour and a half delivery. And it'd be an absolute disaster.
It would not be fun for you.
But I like getting here because I have Pizza Hut maybe twice a year. And I enjoy it's got a taste that I enjoy. I prefer it way more over the other options that we've had here in this office.
Now, don't get me wrong. Okay, I'm mostly kidding about this. It's not my preferred pizza, but if there was cold Pizza Hut pizza in there right now, I'd be thinking about it for sure. But it did really put something in perspective for me. I was like, wow, Pizza Hut has fallen in my rankings pretty far.
Domino's is taking over.
Dude, Andy, it kills me to say that. You know me, I'm a fucking Diet Coke guy.
Yeah.
You put a Pepsi in front, get that shit out of my face, Tim, with your stupid Pepsis, right? Although I had a Pepsi Zero in LA. It fucked me up. Andy. Have you had Pepsi Zero?
It's really good. It's
Not
really
bad.
good.
Not bad.
Turns
Jerry.
out all the things you blindly hate based on outdated information.
I like Brand Alliance. I'm a Coca-Cola guy. I used to be a Pizza Hut guy, man. Round Table slid in, and I was like, whatever. Round Table, it's good. It's very good. But we never ordered Round Table growing up. I don't think we even had a Round Table in Riverside. Oh no, that's not true. We'd go to the Round Table. That was like the night out. The Shakey's or the Round Table would go. That was the fancy pizza that we never got.
Oh.
Yeah, because it had a salad bar.
See, again, I double back to the Pizza Hut. I knew what you were getting into. Like, I'm not a Pizza Hut guy by any stretch of the imagination. If they still have the old classic locations, which I know there's like 3 left in the world or whatever, that'd be fine. So I knew what we were getting when we ordered it, when we all gave in. Brandon, this is what we're gonna do. All right, fine.
We were worn
and it was
down.
greasy, but again, the cheese and the crust is just outstanding. You know, Joey got me that pie, and I was fine. I don't need this again.
Did you have some in the back of your mind you were hoping everyone would pick, or like what?
No, I mean I would have gone square pie, guys. I mean, let's
Okay.
stay local and do some. Take care of people who take care
Support
of us.
local
but
business. Right.
Andy's
Yeah.
like, no, I hate that shit for some reason.
Andy's corporate America.
Yeah,
He's a
exactly.
shill.
I had.
Andy's like, oh, they're helping us raise money against cancer. I'm on cancer's side. That's what Andy said.
I had it
Did that.
on. I had it on Saturdays.
That's so a couple
That's
weeks.
the inference.
Well, I'm sorry, I got in the way of your health nut face. All right, you know what I mean? Really? But again, I'm back to Nick with like Little Caesars was that again, and I know it's hard to believe, Tim. Back in the day, Little Caesars was great when it was
When
Pizza.
you were 10 years old, yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they did cheese in the crust.
When
and
everything
you've
was
heard
great.
of it.
Yeah.
Cheese in the
When there
crust.
was nothing
cheese
better.
and pepperoni in the crust. Cheese and pepperoni in the crazy bread.
Wow.
I've told the story before. I remember eating this, being like, I should not be eating this. Like I'm a child. Why are they letting me eat this?
Did you-
Someone should stand up and stop.
Did you ever go to did you ever go to a party where they ordered the fucking pizza that was like the size of a table?
Bigfoot.
And nobody stopped us. Why didn't they stop
Let's
us?
involve Eric Myers right now, who writes into patreon.com/kindafunny, like invented by Reggie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so that was Pizza Hut did it, and they did a knockoff, whatever. What is Reggie invented? He worked at Pizza Hut, right?
Who's Reggie?
Reggie
Fils-a-May.
Visa
Yeah.
He invented the Bigfoot pizza there, whatever they called theirs, the
Wow.
big pan or whatever.
It was all downhill from there.
What it lacked in
Kevin,
flavor,
while
it made up for in
Kevin,
a
you
lot.
go to it's on Reggie's thing. Oh, it was Bigfoot there. So what the fuck was there was a knockoff one for Little Caesars because Little Caesars just copied everybody. Is it pizza by the foot? Is that it right there? Little Caesars pizza. Imagine the fucking balls on Little
pissed off.
Caesars.
You'd be so mad if you were
Reggie
Pizza Hut.
comes out and
You
knocks
piece
out
of shit.
Bigfoot pizza. Like, oh, pizza by the foot. We'll make the same pizza, but we'll make it long.
How many feet of pizza do you
We'll
want?
still
3
use
feet?
foot.
I swear to God, they made one that was big and rectangular, though. I remember there being one that was like the size of this table.
They
that was, like,
probably
this
did.
big.
Little Caesars, they were crazy
Something.
back then.
And the Bigfoot mascot was just like a dude.
I saw that. I thought I was expecting.
That's a little strange.
I was expecting a woodland-looking creature. Oh, it is.
Oh, yes, he is a little furry.
He's kind
okay.
of he's kind of a
He's
big
got hairy
guy.
arms.
2 huge
right.
square feet of delicious pizza, 21 big slices.
Before we
Jesus
move on to the
Christ.
question, Greg,
It's about the stuff though. But
I wanted to say chill out with the talking shit about Hot and Ready's. Hot and Ready's got a lot of poor kids like me in college.
Whoa,
through class.
whoa! It got a lot of poor IG editors named Greg Miller through living in South City,
And it was
okay?
delicious.
I was sitting there on an air mattress, go across the street. I get a 6-pack of Budweiser heavy and a hot and ready pizza. Come back and
$5 would feed me for 4
sit there and
days,
play
man.
Guitar
Dude,
Hero.
no,
too.
it was a game changer because it was like when I was in high school, so like early 2000s or late 2000s, whatever, where Domino's started it with the 555 deal. Like to me, that was the first time pizza became affordable. You know what I mean? Because like before that, like Nick's talking about going to Round Table as like a family meal, you're going out, or if like you and your friends, it's a weekend, it's like. To get a pizza was like $20-something. Like that was just simply not going to happen. But then when they came up with this 555 thing, it's easy to find 2 friends. You each bring $5. You're just going home with a large pizza.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Huge. And am I
This is
crazy?
all in line with the question. Can I please
Yeah.
read it?
Yeah. Read
Eric
your
Myers
question.
cut me off. Writes into I'm sorry, to kindoffunny.com/KF podcast. It says, y'all got any funny fat kid story?
Yep.
When I was at my largest and my parents would be out working and I was at home, I would order myself a large round table pizza and eat the entire thing and throw the box into our fireplace.
Wow.
Or slowly break down the box to hide the evidence. And
Over
of
how
course-
many years?
And of course, I still ate dinner later.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah, Eric.
That is
mean,
wild.
I still have story. This is even when I go home to visit my parents to this day, it's always the exact same thing. We do it now. It's alcohol. We do a round of drinks, and there's appetizers that get put out.
Yeah.
And the appetizers are enough to feed anyone that's going to come to this house for the
Blue
next
Xanthi
2
pasta,
fucking years.
come on now.
So by the time you're done with the appetizers, you're already full. Like we'll go for Christmas Eve. I'll make my parents pizza. But by the time the pizzas are coming out of the oven, I'm already ready to throw up. Then the pizza starts. Then my mom's cheesecake starts. And then we chill for like another half hour, and then we go, we could eat some more. And I swear to God, the last 2 times I've gone to their place for a Christmas Eve, I've gone back to the hotel and thrown up. Just literally like, I can't, I just can't do it anymore.
What does D think of this?
But she's right next to me throwing up.
I
Yeah.
just picture Nick at this party when mostly everybody has gone and left and it's nighttime and he's in his socks kind of walking around the house and just kind of Like the way that Nick kind of walks around looking for, and you're like, he's looking for something else to snack on. And I just picture Nick in his element. Just
But
what's
see,
next?
but you got to picture me and Big Lou. Big Lou.
Big Lou.
Big Lou. My dad just loves to be around me. He's like, whatever
Aw.
Nick's doing, I'm just hanging out. Like, and he's
Aw.
like, and he gets tired, so he'll fall asleep when we're
Sleepy
watching
Lou.
movies at like 8:00, but then he'll start snoring. And my mom's like, Lou, go to bed. And he's like, no, I'm fine. And he looks over at me to make sure I'm still there, and he just goes, cool, we're good. And then he goes back to sleep.
Aww.
But Big Lou is like he's like a puppy dog. If he hears the refrigerator door open, he pops up and he walks over. He doesn't say anything. He just starts getting plates out.
What are we
You know,
snacking on
what's
together?
happening? We don't even talk about it. He's just like, boom. My mom's like dip. My mom used to make this like bacon mushroom dip. Get that. That starts getting microwaved. Suddenly, someone's like, we re-energize. What's on HBO or whatever whatever satellite she's got. That's the cheapest possible thing she could. It's like AT&T Uverse or whatever it is. It's great, man. That's what we've always done.
There's two things in the chat I want to bring attention to. Alex G says, I still hide food sometimes, which is like,
People do that.
that's not good, guys. Not good at all. And Mike L says, I used to drink salsa with a straw.
That's gross.
I was a menace. He adds in, I was a menace.
I have an aunt. My dad is from a big family. He's got 4 siblings, and so they if they were out, during dinner, they would not get food or they wouldn't get any of the food. So my aunt used to come home, hide a pizza under her bed, and then leave, and she'd come back and then eat that pizza, which is wild.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Brandon, do you have any fat kid stories?
Not
Were
like
you-
gorging
were you a
myself.
fat
but,
kid?
No,
Still good looking.
You're
Oh,
jacked.
thank
Get
you.
the fuck
I
out of
appreciate
here.
But sweet tooth, like and I love how like we're done with spooky season, and I love the like I hate candy corn season when it's just like right on October 1st, everyone like gets up on their soapbox and just like, for the record, this isn't good, and you're like, okay, cool.
You're great.
get a handful
but
of
like a bag of candy corn, a bag of mellow cream pumpkins, easy.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
haven't done it in a while, but like certainly when I was in college, like a pint of Haagen-Dazs gone.
Oh,
sure.
in one
yeah.
sitting, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Anything with
honestly-
sugar in it, I'll just.
Haagen-Dazs, those pints of ice cream, they should not be distributed that way.
They need to
Oh,
be a
God,
big ass
no.
tub.
They know
of
what they're
nothing.
doing.
yeah,
Stopping
big
half
tub
is
or
so
yeah,
what
because
they're
like
doing.
I honestly I don't think in the last like ever probably that I've ever bought one of those and not finished it in one sitting. There's just I can't stop myself, and it's like
It's too
their
snack
fault.
size to think that it's healthy for one person.
Yeah, it's
and
very
really-
rare that I get it. Maybe once a year at this point, but like I still take that shit down.
And it's like 3/4 of what your calorie intake should be for the day.
yeah.
Right.
I have a couple, but I want to get back into the chat. Mike responds, "Oh, it was in public, by the way. Poor grandma." So grandma caught him drinking salsa with a straw.
Oh.
In public, or
That's
maybe didn't
disgusting.
catch. She just saw him at Chili's and just like, I can't stop this kid. This is what it's going to be. Omega Buster says, I can relate to the salsa story. I used to drink Worcestershire sauce when no one was looking.
Ew.
Wow.
I do weird shit like
The
that.
naughty biscotti. I had a
Wow.
pecan pie my aunt made for me from an uncle. I forgot about it for 2 months.
Nick, like, you do weird things every once in a while. When
I
it
just
comes
still
to,
do weird shit.
No, yeah, exactly. But when it comes to food stuff, like you're so healthy in some ways, but then you're so not healthy in others. And I can't really find the logic of like what equals what. But the amount of times where you apply that logic to the way that you interact with human beings that you don't know sometimes throws me off. Because like we'll be at a Starbucks or at a restaurant or literally talking to a bus driver or anybody. And the way that you interact with them and when food comes up and the things that you'll ask them to do or not do or like just I'm always standing there and I've known you a long time and I every single time I'm like, is Nick fucking with me? Like, is Nick trying to make me laugh? Is Nick trying to make them laugh? Does Nick really want the thing that he's ordering? And every time it ends with, oh no, Nick, he wants the thing that he's ordering. And I'm like, huh. And I've seen it happen in your head where you know what you want, but then you convince yourself you want something else in the middle of ordering. And I don't have any great examples right now, but like you guys know what I'm talking about. And Nick will just end up walking out with like the most bizarre final order. No matter what it is, doesn't matter what restaurant we're at. It's like, how did we end up there? But it made sense to you.
I think a lot of it is like cutting the carbs from whatever that meal is, like
Yeah.
taking the bun off the burger and
Nick
just
was ahead
going
of
with-
his time on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what it is. If I'm feeling like particularly unhealthy or bloated or something, I'll try to do something a little healthier. But it's always a struggle between trying to be healthy and then the inner fat kid in me that's like, if you take the bun off, you can get sweet potato fries, right? Or something like that, which ends up being, of course, a net neutral and or worse more often than not. So yeah, that is a struggle still for me to this day. Ideally, what I would do is just eat salad and chicken for the rest of my life and probably feel fan-fucking-tastic. But for every one of those meals, every now and again, my wife will hit me up and be like, what's up? And I'm like, fuck, what are we doing? What is tonight? What is this
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be? Is this going to be the night I eat an entire bag of popcorn? And it usually is.
The turning point for me in every time that you're doing this is when you ask, is that weird? Because the answer is always yes. But you always be like, can I get this? Is that weird?
Do you know one other person who's done that?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of stuff has been standardized now. The burger with no bun is like people just order that
Nah, it's
now.
just normal.
But yeah, I've done some weird shit. I
You'll
still eat
just
weird
take
shit.
you'll take the Taco Bell meat out of the shell
Yeah.
sometimes and just kind of.
Well, the weirdest order ever that to this day, I think my buddy Brennan was like, I almost unfriended you at this point. He used to live down in Foster City and there was a Taco Bell there. And we'd play games all night and he'd go like, you want to go Taco Bell? I was like, yeah, I'm going to Taco Bell. But it was knee deep in like the third time around I tried to do the Atkins diet. Now, Atkins diet, for people that aren't familiar with it, was like the original low carb diet. But it was the unhealthy version of it where they're like, you can have bacon. Just eat bacon. That's it. And you'll lose weight. And I did the first time around. But the
housing bacon.
My cholesterol must have been through the fucking roof. It was like cheese melted on top of bacon, on top of eggs, on top of fucking lima beans or some weird shit.
And an early lunch. I'm so hungry on this podcast. Man.
Dude, I'm sorry.
It's ridiculous.
But like I did it a second time around when I first moved up here because I was like, oh, I'm kind of struggling. I don't have a friend group. Food is very comforting for me, so I was gaining a little bit of weight. So I'm like, going back on low carb. Brennan's like, I'll do it with you. I was like, cool. There's one restaurant it's impossible to do it at, which is Taco Bell. But I found the trick. I was like, can I have 5 sides of taco meat with cheese and hot sauce on that? And I have never seen a person behind
insane.
a counter look at me like I had like more heads in my entire life. She was like, "You want what?" And I was like, let's simplify this. Can you do a side of taco
I
meat?
drew a picture of it.
Yeah. She was like, sure.
Give me 5 tacos, but pretend that you forgot the
hold the
shell.
taco.
Yeah, I was like, just dump it all into it. But this is before Taco Bell did bowls and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Now they do. Now you can get a bowl, which I've gotten before. But yeah, that was one of those where it's like, and the line started forming, and I could tell Brennan was like, I'm getting really anxious right now. Like, you just need to order a fucking burrito so we can get out of here. And I was like, nah, it's gonna work. And I got it back, and it was sure enough a bowl this big, full of just taco meat and cheese and salsa. And one bite into it, I was like, this was the worst mistake I've ever made in my life.
But
Like,
that
there's
went
no
up the
way
chain
this
to
is-
Taco Corporate. Where they're
Oh,
like,
man,
wait a
that was
second.
bad.
Revolutionary.
I was
a
always a
moment.
tiny kid and super like I never ate, and I wish I stayed that way. But I just started loving snacking as I got older and older. But as a kid, like it was always an achievement when I finished a meal. Like my parents were, oh wow, you know.
Oh!
Oh, here we go.
Now, how do we know if
Accurate
this
size.
is the scale?
Accurate to size.
Because we saw you scale it up.
And but probably the most recent one, because I have plenty of nights where I eat way too many bags of just flaming hot whatever. But the more recent story is one that I've already told on the KindaFunny podcast, where the night before going to Disneyland, shockingly, this kind of ties to an earlier story. I had bought Pizza Hut and delivered pizza to my room.
And theme parks. This
Yeah,
has everything.
oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Andy's family dies at the park.
And I ate all of the Pizza Hut and felt so sick that I was like, I slept sitting up. I couldn't lay down. I wanted to force myself to throw up. I was trying to pace around this hotel. Like, why did I do this? This was such a mistake. I was just like not thinking while eating it because I was so hungry and it was so delicious. This thin crust was so smacking, dude. It was hashtag schmacking. Like, what's his face? The guy who's dating Taylor Swift. I forget his name. But so bad to where I'm like, I texted my friends like, I may not go to Disneyland tomorrow. Like, I don't know.
That is sick.
I don't know
been
how
there.
this is gonna pay off and how this is gonna end up in the morning. So I slept the whole night sitting up against the hotel, looking like a psycho because I had one too many thin crust slices of Pizza Hut. It was so damn good. I didn't know my limit. That was a mistake.
My fat kid story for Eric Meyer's question, and I have obviously many, but I'll give you 2 that pivot around the same thing, right? And that's the ability to have a car. All right. So when I was younger, this is another moment, and I say younger, we're talking like 13 probably, you know what I mean, or whatever. But I remember when my parents would, on Friday nights was pizza night. My parents, when everybody would get home, you know, or order, then they'd go pick it up and bring it back. And you know how like when your dogs get excited, they're about to be fed, like they're just frantic. And I was like that at the windows of my house. And this isn't a one-off. I'm talking multiple Fridays where it's one of those things like, I don't know, Batman ends or whatever I'm watching, you know what I mean? And then it's like, well, there's not enough time to do something else. There got to be 5 to 10 minutes out. You set the plates and then you just wait at the window.
You're Scott Pilgrim sitting in front of the door waiting for the delivery.
Totally. And it was that thing of like, there's a voice in my head of like, this isn't normal. You shouldn't have this relationship with pizza. But goddamn was I excited.
So
now, would I
fucking
get in the
good.
car to go for the ride? Fuck no. I don't want to leave the
yeah,
house.
right.
You know what I mean? You go get
You
it.
torture yourself on the way back with the.
I
smelling
feel
of
like
the
that would
car.
have been better, like use of my time, though, in terms of than just running, like literally frantically looking out the window, waiting for it, waiting to hear the garage to go down and help them bring it up.
Now, the only reason I used to go was because my mom would bribe me to go by letting me go to the Video Whiz and renting 3 movies.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so I would call ahead of time, to
time.
make sure I'd revert. Like I just had it fucking down.
Yeah.
And
I
would
thought so.
reserve the
I
movies
thought so. You
wanted.
could talk to the cashier, like, can you remove the bread from the pizza, just the cheese?
Oh no, we're talking 13-year-old Nick. I would
Oh, boy.
put 3 pieces of pizza on top of each other if I wanted to, and then make popcorn afterward, and then eat ice cream, and then go back for whatever pizza
It really,
afterward.
when you sit down, I was thinking of this just driving home randomly the other day, and I was just thinking about existence and life, and really just reflecting on the purpose of all of this. And then I thought, one reason I feel like maybe it's like a subconscious feeling of why I'm not religious and don't think that there's like a benevolent spirit kind of watching over everybody, is that the fact that like the stuff that tastes the best is the worst for you. And that sucks.
Sure.
Mhm.
That is such
Because
a
sex
crime.
feels good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That
It's
could
like,
have terrible consequences.
like, well, that yeah. It's like it's a weird thing where it's like
Why do all the best tasting things
You're being tested.
make you work?
I know sugar. I saw that explained one time by like a Mr. Whiz or something. It was like if you break down on a cellular level, the hunt for sucrose is actually a very natural thing. Like there are organisms that absorb that or have that in their diet that know how to regulate it. You know, it's
Okay.
not like us who have factories that put it into things and then it can be shipped to us. Like that's when
Sure.
it kind of got out of control.
But Andy, like, isn't that like the worst example of commercialism just taking over? Where it's like what sells well, delicious food. That's why McDonald's is so like all of it is so tasty, and you know what I mean.
No,
It's
but-
not. It's not that like. It's that we've made it into horrible stuff.
No, I'm just thinking of the fact that if I wanted to be a healthier, more fit, more in shape human being, the fact that I can't put tomato sauce on a crusty crust with fucking cheese and pepperoni, and because if I do that too much, it'll make me fat and overweight. That bums me out. Why can't I be healthy?
yeah.
Just let me flip the switch.
Now you pivot. I turned 16. I get my first job. I'm working at Petland. You know what I mean? Of
course.
And I understand, of course, ladies and gentlemen, I'm old. You know, Nick and I are old.
We're
I'm
not
as old
young.
as Nick, but you know what I mean?
Well.
But back in my day, I get this job at 16, and Venmo, get the hell out of here. We didn't have this. You know what I mean? Me having a credit card or a debit card, not possible or whatever. So you're getting your paycheck. You got to drive it to the store and put it in the store. You got to drive it to the bank, I believe they're called.
money place.
Put it there. You know what I mean? Withdraw cash, yada, 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 yada. And so, like, I never had much cash. And back to Tim's point, like, pizzas were expensive or whatever. I started working that first job, and I'm working Friday nights, which, of course, historically were pizza nights. And at one point, I lamented to mom, like, "Oh man, it sucks. I miss pizza nights, and then I don't have enough cash when I come home to get pizza or whatever." And we went through phases, obviously, right? There was the Baroni's phase you've all heard about, my favorite pizza in the Chicagoland area, Glen Ellen, what up, represent. Then there was Little Caesars for a while. Eventually, there was Danny's out by our house, which is a local little shop. Nowhere to sit, just carry out or delivery. And we had been going there long enough, and my parents knew the people or whatever, that my mom talked to them when she went there and came back. She's like, great news. Like, they're down that if you call in a pizza after work or whatever, they'll just hang it on the thing. And when I come in to get me and your dad's pizza on Fridays, I can pay for your pizza. And I was like, oh, that's great. Fantastic. I wish my Petland looked that nice. It didn't. It was in a strip mall, much smaller. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. Week 2 or 3. You know what I mean? I came home. I came home from work, and my mom's like, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? We went in there. 4 or 5 different tickets from these pizzas you've been eating coming home from work. Like, you can't. We agreed to a pizza. We agreed to a pizza on Friday night, not a pizza every fucking night. She came in there with a $75 bill for pizza she hasn't even eaten.
We are stopping this.
You have taken advantage of the
Check the
situation.
fine print, man. So you chose Petland over working at a pizza joint.
Oh,
You
yeah,
could have worked
no,
around
yeah.
food.
No, I mean, if you would have told me free pizza, I might have thought about it. You know what I mean?
I just something reminded me of my fat kid story that, guys, I don't know if you're ready for it because
I am ready for it.
Nasty.
I'm ready for
okay?
it.
It's really nasty. You can mute me if you need to mute me here.
No,
okay?
if they're here, they're here.
2 blocks away from the house I grew up in, I was so lucky that just a 2-block walk, there was a 7-Eleven, a Round Table Pizza with an arcade, and then a Blockbuster. Me and Cool Greg living it up. Like, looking back on that, I was like, God damn, that's what privilege
Would
looks
y'all
like.
pop off whenever a new video game was like there?
Oh, absolutely.
That's cool.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Man. Like, that was the life.
That sounds good now.
Yeah, totally. Like, and what sucks now is all 3 of those places are still, like, the places are there, but only the 7-Eleven remains. The other 2 are just empty husks. Like, the Blockbuster, like, delivery drawer is still there, but nothing's in it. We would go to that round table a lot, and my mom would take us, and it was the whole sit-down experience, and we're fucking playing Cruising USA and shit in the little arcade. When I was, like, I don't know, probably 7 years old, we'd get the garlic twists, which I love.
Hell yeah.
Love these things
Really
so
good.
much. There was, to this day, I love them. There was one time, but they would serve the fountain drinks, you know, like you could just like get the refills, and like just like Pizza Hut had those like red cups, Round Table had the green cups or whatever, but the same like those plastic cups, right?
The thick plastic, like
Big,
opaque
thick
cups.
plastic ones. Yeah, you put hell ice in, whatever. So when you're a kid, like everyone goes through that phase of like, I'm gonna mix all the sodas together because like
Suicide.
Yeah, exactly. You think that like that's cool, but it's like disgusting, and you're like, no, I swear to God, it's good. It was not good, guys. Who are you kidding? So we would do that, but there was one time where I was talking, something happened, somebody hit my hand, my garlic twist fell into
Nice.
my soda.
Joe
Yeah.
Chestnut here. I can eat these faster.
And I ate it. Like I pulled it out and I just ate it.
That's not the gross part of the story.
No, he liked it. He kept doing
No.
this. He dunked it.
Well, so here's the thing. My mom called me out. My mom got really mad and was just like, what are you doing? Like, do not eat that. And I was like, I meant to do it. I got so defensive, came up with this whole lie. Like that, like, oh no, that was on purpose. Fucking rebelling for no reason. And then for years, I kept up the charade.
No.
And I would dip
You never
garlic
liked
twist- No, but I would just to spite my mom and prove
Sure.
that she was fucking wrong.
Sure.
Wow.
I would dip my garlic twist into my soda. Yeah, there we go. That's now.
Oh, that's
there's
the Blockbuster
There's
there?
the Domino's there, but yeah, the
God, look at that
Blockbuster is on the right.
sad
I walked by that the other
Ross,
day.
the Ross dress
Jesus
for less up
God,
there.
yeah, it's all rusty.
It looks like a
shit.
nuclear bomb went off.
Yeah,
like
it's
13 miles away, and that's the flash.
Very fly.
But like this is the part that like it's really just taking it too far, guys. Like especially when I think about how I am now with like oil and shit. Like hell no, like it would just coagulate all the fat.
Oh, God.
Right.
That's
The
gross.
soda, and I would just drink the soda.
Well, when did it
That's
end? Did you
disgusting.
stop going there, or when did it stop?
I went there till
Was there?
till their final dying days. I must have stopped doing this. Like
Okay.
I think I came to Jesus around like 11 years old or something. But like there was a good couple years that I was doing this shit, and it's disgusting. Like I can remember how the soda looked, and it is.
I would be
That
Not-
grosses
that's
me out
so
more than like
disgusting.
soggy bread. If I were to ever like drop a drink or a soda on a pizza, it's like my day is ruined. Like if there was any of like whatever it was I was drinking, like pink lemonade or root beer or whatever, if that shit fell on the pizza, get that fucking slice out of here and anywhere, any other surrounding areas that it may have contaminated. That's awful. Just ruined my day with that story.
I'm sorry.
Boo, Tim. Boo.
I know.
But yay, Brandon Jones.
Hey,
Thank you for coming by today.
Oh, love it.
I'm getting
Just
choked
crying.
up saying goodbye to you. Sorry about
Congrats on
that. Yeah,
the
first
whole
time
thing.
here, huh?
Yeah, congrats on.
Did we do
Studio
okay? We did okay?
and
You like it?
Your boy's beautiful.
Yeah,
Everything's
yeah,
going.
yeah, yeah.
Brandon said this is I've hit the trifecta of all the places.
One
Yeah.
of you
done all
might be
three.
the only person so far, right? That's been to all 3 Kind of Funny studios.
Let's just say that.
Interesting.
I mean, you're definitely.
What about Troy?
Andrea Renee.
Troy hasn't met here yet.
Bryson Better?
No.
Andrea Renee. No, I don't. Did
Was
Andrea
Andrea
ever come
ever
to
the
this?
OG? I don't
Bear
think
bedroom?
so.
I forget.
Probably not.
The
Thanks,
winner.
everybody.
Yeah.
He platinumed Kind of Funny. There you go. You did the damn thing, Brandon.
awesome.
And you wrote a great book, Whirly World. You can go get it right now, kindoffunny.com/Brandon. Brandon, how much longer until somebody has to hear your next book idea or what's going on? Or, how does any of this work?
With 16 months to write the first one. Gonna see if I can whittle that down to 12, maybe
Okay.
by the end of And I have mentioned this before, but I have a kids book that actually finished being illustrated, and I'm gonna start shopping that around to publishers.
Ooh,
and
that's
then
exciting.
If nobody bites on that, then I'll do the same thing, self-publish like I did with this one. But
You're awesome.
with this, it's like when you pitch a book idea, you're like, I have this idea. You want me to write that for you? Whereas like a kid's book, it's like, no, it's done. Read it. It'll take you, 3 minutes. Right there, so. a little easier to pitch. So we'll see how that goes. But
Well, great.
No
We can't wait.
promises.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep
y'all.
up with Brandon over on all the social medias. We miss you too. You know that.
Trailer Jones everywhere.
Keep up with us on patreon.com/kindafunny. There you can get each and every episode of the Kinda Funny podcast ad-free. Of course, you get it as an MP3. You get it as a video. You can watch us record it live, and you can get 400 bonus episodes of content we've put up in the past year. However, if you got no bucks tossed our way, no big deal. YouTube.com/kindafunny and podcast services around the globe each and every episode. For a brand new episode. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.
Gary Whitta doesn't count. He was an employee.